Blog Talk Radio.
All right, everybody. You know what time it is. I'm back. I told you we were going to do this show the way it needed to be done. And I feel good about what's taking place tonight.
Divided soul.
So listen, you got to have some pride, y'all. Do we have pride in ourselves tonight? Think about it. We sure do.
Give me some pride, Lord. Make me feel proud of myself. Let me walk with my head up high. Let me know that I'm fly. Instead of worrying about the clothes and the jewelry that don't do nothing for me. 'Cause I got the best, most beautiful brown or chocolate cocoa butter skin in the world. Give me some pride, Lord. Give me some pride, Lord. I need a little pride. Yeah. I wanna walk tall. We need pride to survive, dog. To survive, yeah. To survive, yeah.
Got to say it loud when I see wrong. Somebody's keeping songs from being strong. Music abuse when the sick gets used. Now look at all these young people confused, Lord. I'm even seeing old folks applaud nonsense that we cannot afford. Flashback, now ruining some box with sex and teen pop equals hip-hop stop. Our young world stars don't know who they are. Slapping rap down from high art, here's a start. Y'all know better than that. You know why? 'Cause y'all better than that. Give them hope, give them love, give them pride instead of turning rap in a little old trap. Not some character, know what I mean? Get some character, human beings.
Give me some pride, Lord. Make me feel proud of myself. Let me walk with my head up high. Let me know that I'm fly. Instead of worrying about the clothes and the jewelry that don't do nothing for me. 'Cause I got the best, most beautiful brown or chocolate cocoa butter skin in the world. Give me some pride, Lord. Give me some pride, Lord. I need a little pride, yeah. I wanna walk tall. We need pride to survive, dog. To survive, yeah. To survive, yeah.
Is it me? Grown folks acting like kids on TV, following trying to be what they see. Sitting around sipping BE, no different than empty, reality trying to murder me. Oh, say I think they still cannot see. Tired of social media asking me, Chuck B, what you think about this policy? Want to do something for the people, make us equal instead of being creatures with human features. You failed to plan, you plan to fail. 2014, 2 million folks in jail. 11-year-olds can't relate to champagne. Silent N-words in marketing campaigns. Believing anything celebrities saying. Now 40-year-olds be blinded by the fame.
Sisters, shake what your mama gave you. Ain't no sense in you shaking that thing or doing them things till you know what you're doing. Baby, I'm with you. Girl, you know we love you. We think the world of you. You're our queen. You know what I mean? We gotta love ourselves more, y'all. We gotta love ourselves.
Coming back at you. We have some pride tonight. We're going to discuss here before we get the call to get on there. Have you been checking yourself? Where's your pride level at? Hit it one more time, Chuck.
The DJ, the band, the man in black is the man. Listen, spread the word.
All right. Good evening, everybody. It's Wednesday night. OU Drybones. We back from a nice, rested, needed reflection in the land where I come from, the Buffalo Below, New York. And I had a good time. I want to give a shout out to all the family up there in New York, all the way from Buffalo, all the way from Rochester, all the way to Brooklyn. We had a good time. Good to see many of you doing well. I'm giving a shout out to my brother who in the hospital. Brother, you get yourself well. We need you back. And to my sister who's been in a lot of trauma, please have faith in your son. Keep him going and take him to the next level where he needs to be. He needs you in his life. So stay there, Sister Lou, and it should turn out all right. Give your strength to what's needed. Thank you, everybody. This time off, we had a chance to watch this whole thing unturned. Because when we left y'all with dead niggas. And we wanted to make sure that y'all was understood that there's dead niggas, and it will probably be more because of what we're seeing in these past few weeks amidst all that's been going on. We finding that we still are in some serious time frame. So what we're trying to do now is basically give everybody an opportunity tonight, because we took a little time off, and reflect on these last few events that took place and discuss them like nobody else will, because unfortunately we are in a serious state, y'all, where our people have been seriously divided into parts. And I told you about that last week, that they're into 3 segments, and many of you are in the second segment, which is very serious, but we won't dwell on that. Tonight, good to be back. I got some good people coming on. I got my brother Chauncey from out of Fort Lauderdale. He has Movement Change, and they're out of Fort Lauderdale, and he has his own video company, and he puts together some high-quality videos. I'm going to let him come on at the bottom of the hour, where he would discuss some of his events. Now, he was the one who brought Hidden Colors down here, him and his group. I can't leave everybody out, so just forgive me if I have. But, they put together some events with Dr. Kaba. And when I left, they were supposed to have a serious event that was going to have Dr. Umar Johnson come here. And he was supposed to be going through Florida. But when I left to go to the New York, it seems to be there was some type of problem. But the event here in Miami, which was at a very nice place, he would discuss it in the Coconut Grove. Everybody who knows that area, Coconut Grove, it was in the art district, or the art gallery they have there. It was very nice. It was very well put together, from my understanding, but Dr. Omar did not show up. So that would be discussed on why, but the brother improvised, and his group put together a very dynamic video of people who stayed to take on a solution, and his brother's going to discuss that, how I think that was the best thing that could have happened to that event, show us that we have to carry on regardless if the people don't show up that we think should show up. But in all reality, we are in some serious, serious, serious delusion. Now, before we get started, I want everybody to understand that we're going to start to get into a little bit more deeper, complex situations where we can start thinking about it and analyzing. And we're going to use Sunday, which I will be pumping this new show called the Helios Biblios Hour, the Book of the Sun. It will start at 10 o'clock. That's the TO hour. And we'll end at high noon, the blazing sun. We will end it at high noon. So that would be from 10 to 12 on Sundays. For those of you who do not go to church and want to hear more than what you hear at church, I suggest you come on and just take a peek at what the Drybones Connection is going to display. Also, we want you to go to www.drybonesconnection.com. We are putting some very well documentaries together so you can show others quickly and do not have to go through a lot of rigmarole to find out what's really happening at a faster pace than you can even imagine. So that's what we put together for you. Also, I just want us to understand that, a lot of what's going on is not new. That's why we're going to have Sundays, because there's nothing new under the sun. But tonight we're going to talk about, do we have pride in ourselves? And that's the question we should be asking. Have we been analyzing the situation? Now, this is the talk that where facts matter. Now, all you who are on the internet, I appreciate you from clicking on. All you who are coming on later on, I know some of you told you we'll be coming on later. We have a wonderful show set up for you tonight. We will be asking you questions tonight to see, are you really knowing what's going on, and have you taken pride to know what's going on? We're going to ask some people. Give us the first question that we may ask people will be, give us the murder capitals of this so-called United States capital. And you'll be surprised. I can't wait to ask that first one. It's only 6 that are and been this way for a long time. Been this way for a long time. We got to ask ourselves some questions about that tonight. We're going to get into Ferguson the real way, the way it should be looked at by a PSYOP observation, meaning that this could be a deployed military event to make it look like one thing and it may be the other. But without further ado, I'm going to go into what we normally go into, and I'm going to get this out the way, because until people understand the ancient principles and learn how they can apply them, that is beneficial to yourself and to others, you will not have no understanding of the Maya. The Maya is the truth, the justice, the harmony, the balance, the reciprocity, the order, the righteousness. That is the basis of a nation. That is your backbone. And we'll be getting into the symbolism on Sundays as well, the jihad, which is your spinal cord standing up straight. We have not resurrected any type of fundamental educational program. Now, we're going to get into some basics tonight about psychology, too, because we got so many psychologists. But like I told you before, can you answer the question tonight, where does psychology come from? I have the answers, and I'm going to put them out there. I'm going to ask y'all first when you put your hands up on these questions, because tonight we want to see, do you take pride in knowing what you need to know about yourselves? Or is this just a fad that we go through pretending that we have this so-called consciousness? Until this consciousness is resurrected in the mind, it cannot magnify the DNA, and we're going to get into that on Sunday, because the DNA is the divine nature of atom. That's what it is. It's the symbolism, the divine nature of the atom. And we're going to leave that alone right now. But until we understand that, and probably won't be done for a little minute, because of the fact that they are bombarding our brains with all kind of foolishness on every level. And so tonight, before we get to the bottom of the hour, and I got my brother Chauncey coming on here so we can talk about some other things, my first part is, listen to this, y'all. It said, amid the continual tensions over the police shooting of unarmed teen in Ferguson, most Americans, listen to this, this is a statistic. We're dealing with true facts tonight. This is the talk that facts matters, not your emotions, but facts. It says, Americans give relatively a low marks to the police departments around the country for the holding officers accountable for misconduct, using the appropriate amount of force, and the teaching of racial and ethnic groups equally. Currently, 69% of the public, including majority of both white, 75, and blacks, 64, say black and white in this country get along very well and or pretty well. Now, remember, we said that there were 3 types of black people that was actually putting down in here. It was group 1, 2, and 3. I ain't going to go into that now because I want you to remember where this is coming from. When we did that, the classes that they put us in 3 and the 3, well, that's what they're saying now. Now, y'all go ahead and try to dispute it if you want to. But if you can't, then just deal with it. Now, it says that currently, that they say since 2009, the share of blacks with a positive view of the relationship between the race has fallen by 12%, from the normal 67 to 64, while remaining largely unchanged among whites, 80% in 2009, nearly 7 in 10 blacks. I mean, 7 out of 10 blacks, 7 say that they have not much or no confidence at all in the police using this type of equipment appropriately. By contrast, most whites, 60%, have a great deal of fair amount of confidence in the police to appropriately, listen to this, y'all, they have a fair amount of confidence in police departments to appropriately use military equipment and weapons. This is in the most accurate and so far most dominant statistic taking people to Pew Research, which can be done with a lot of research companies, and you'll find out that this is not made up. Now, my question is, do we have any pride? Many of the things I've seen throughout both of these places, while all this was going on in Ferguson, we were shooting, killing each other. Buffalo, I feel sorry for the family. Man, 29 shot 4 teenagers. 4 teenagers. Just randomly. He didn't even care where he shot them at. Then we got areas all over the country where we are just shooting, killing. Suge Knight. The reason why I didn't show that to everybody because the music industry, like we said before, we'll be talking about that, is so powerful that the media said we will delay national news on that until the VMA Awards was over. That's when it was already on the internet, but there was none on CNN. If you do your research, look at it, it was none on none of those stations prior to the of the VMA Awards. Then they decided to see it sprinkled out, and even now, it's really not shown the way you would think it should be. But thank goodness for the media, for the internet. So that goes to show you. Now, the question we're going to ask tonight: how many black police officers? I want y'all to answer this question. Are on our police forces? How many black individuals watch this go on and sit in the pews in church with you while you are being totally taken into a military takeover? How many of these black police officers, who are probably deacons, who've been in police forces for years, ever hold a meeting with their congregation and tell you that there are going to be changes in the law? How many? So before you let Reverend L. Shopton on Anorexic 5 get up there and bobble his head in front of everybody to make you believe that they have sympathy, y'all better think again. Because we're going to have a question tonight: where are our major murder capitals at? And unfortunately, without doing statistics, you'd be surprised where they at. And I have them here, and I want to ask different people as we get on to give us your view on where you think that is at. Also, I want to get everybody to understand that what happened in Ferguson was no more than to get your mind used to seeing the police upgrade into a military stature. They already got the provisions are there. You don't have to worry about, it is debated, this been there. You just ain't been hearing about it because guess what? The police that's in your church, he decided that he didn't want to tell you that they're going into urban guerrilla warfare. He decided he didn't want to mention that in church while he's jumping around with you. He's jumping all over the place. But he forgets to tell you that these laws are going to be so evasive? I know he's getting the training. He gets the training to kill too. See, the black police officers also killing. They killing too, but they've been told by the NAACP propaganda movement that we can only show a black. Now, I want you to understand what I'm getting ready to say here. Because we don't have pride in our leaders from the past, you never paid attention to what W.E.B. Du Bois had to say. He said the race gang would be the biggest gang in America. That came from him. What you want us to tell you? Ask yourself this. Dassaline, Israeli, from the House of Rothschild family, said they must make race the biggest issue because they have no choice. Everybody is practically of color. It's impossible not to use that game when you are not the main factor of color. So that's where this is coming from. Class war of color. So you're falling for it based on the fact that, and we're going to play a clip, and I ain't going to tell you what it is now. I want everybody, when I get to the highest peak, after I bring my brother on, I want his viewpoints on what we've been talking, because this brother here, I believe, is going to be influential because he uses video, which is mainly what our people learn from today, is through video. Many people do not read the books. Many of our historians have put it out on the line for you, but without the proper research and the proper reading of it, you get mad if we try to tell you we are not smarter than you, we just are observant. That doesn't mean that we are better because we understand things faster, maybe, than others. But what we are here to do tonight is to get you to see statistically you are a people without pride. You have pretended to love yourself while you have a policy throughout all America called Don't Snitch. You have continued to watch the police ask you, do you know who shot Baby Baba? No, we don't know who shot Baby Baba. Baby Baba mama crying, snot coming out her nose, and you say, oh, we can't snitch. Well, let me give you another tragedy. While all this was going on in Ferguson, in New York, there was two young men who tortured a person, thinking that he snitched. Guess what? It was the wrong person. Go look it up. It was in New York State. They burnt his shoes with his feet in them with gasoline. They took a drill and drilled his teeth, and they stuck a broomstick up his rectum. Look it up. It's in the Buffalo News. While all this is going on, we marching in Ferguson, talking about we got some love for this brother. Really? What pride do you have in loving this brother when you know this brother actually robbed somebody? Now, whether he did be shot to death, I'm not going to say that at all. I'm saying that when you leave the police, and we're going to do a show on this, protocol of how to deal with police. Common sense say you are outmanned immediately. Common sense, y'all. I ain't that bright. Dude pointing the gun. Question is, do I go forward and say, what you going to do to me? Do I do that? Especially when they've been trained to kill. Now, ask your black police officers in your church jumping around with you on Sunday, have they not been trained to kill? And see what he tell you. Because when you move forward, guess what that is? That's stand your ground, everybody. That's stand your ground. That means you are approaching me violently. That means you are approaching my space. So when a dude big, and I'm not saying, now understand, we're going to have a debate about this logically. When I'm not saying that the police could just shoot, but I'm saying when you come toward the police, at the time when he's telling you to stop, he ain't that bright either. Half of them ain't that bright. They got good jobs, especially some of these rural areas where they ain't that bright. They just got good jobs. And so they get violent prone back quickly as you get violent prone. But the problem is you have an understanding that your jurisdiction level is not that great. You know why? Because we ain't got no lawyers. We ain't got no lawyers. See, that's our number one thing. While they jumping around with you in church every Sunday, these lawyers and these people working for the court system, they jumping all over church with you, passing out with you. But they don't tell you that all the stuff that's going on in the court system that can maybe give you a hands up. See, we now organized. But the Klan, I'm going to bring my brother on in 5 more minutes. I hope I see a number here on here. The Klan put together $250,000. The Klan, even they dumb, have enough sense to know we need lawyers. And they put together, and he probably going to get off based on the fact that, we emotional. Anytime you bring Jesse Jackson, L. Sharpton, Tom Joyner, Spike Lee, they don't show up for nobody else's funeral. Why would they show up for this dude? Ask them, have Tom Joyner been to your funeral? You got a bunch of killings in each city. When I name the cities, how much killing going on in each of these cities, I'm surprised they'd probably be too busy to go to some of these funerals that they got going on here, especially in the area that we got a lot of blacks. I mean, you should see the statistics here. That's why we deal with facts, because I'm not emotional. I can't deal with that emotional stuff. I get upset. So I got to have facts to back me up. So we want to know tonight, while all that was going on, and we're going to bring the brother on, I just want y'all to know, just realize, and we're going to bring my sister on, hopefully, by our Latin correspondence. I always tell everybody, I ain't got no problem with the Latin people because they black. The concept of them is of that. Can't help it. I mean, I say black, I mean pigmented. Don't make no difference. They speak another language, but so they have some understanding. Guess what happened? And we're going to get into that a little later on. While all this is going on, the Russian president goes to Cuba and meets with Fidel Castro's brother, while Fidel Castro's probably somewhere in Tahiti. He getting ready to forgive the debt. Russia's going to forgive the Cuban debt, and they're going to let them build spy satellites. Now, that's 90 miles away, everybody who ever been to Key West, which I have. It's a sign saying the furthest part of the U.S., continental U.S. And isn't that amazing? No news play on that, though, but you got news play on Ferguson. No news play on that, which is that's a Cold War 3 times over. And then while all that's going on in Ferguson, while you watching Ferguson, now all of a sudden ISIS is a super Islamic militant killing machine. I mean, they kidnapping everybody. You looking at Ferguson, though. Then they telling you that they're going to come through the border. Maybe. Don't you find that strange? They may come through the border. I got you, brother. Stay online. I'll bring you in shortly. I see your hand up. I'll bring you in shortly. They saying that the borders, you ain't heard no talk of the borders no more, y'all. Ferguson. Because they had to put all the celebrities in Ferguson because they know we star-studded people. See, we can't have, that's what I'm going to get with this brother about, because he understands quite well. We got to quit being celebrity people. Celebrities come in, get your money, and go. That's what's going to happen with Ferguson. See, Ferguson is a Bible Belt area, everybody. They wasn't really that violent-prone type of people. You'll see how they was trying to fight off the thousands that were shipped in from a PSYOPs, which is called a military PSYOP, meaning that you bring in people that you paid to start trouble up, can take the police, amp them up into a military stance, which gives them easy access to do military war games on civilians based off of what is pretended to be a civil unrest. This has been done thousands of times if you do your research on revolutions. But you will not. You only talk about, revolutions, and yet the only one we should be looking at is Haiti. And unfortunately, once we look upon that, we'll find out there were some blacks from Haiti who decided they wanted to be more French, called the Jacobins. So, this is where we at, everybody. How much pride do you have for yourself? I'm going to let this brother come on because I'm going to tell you, I met him. I like his favor. He trying to do his thing, and I like to join forces with these people that I see doing it. He's innovative, has an excellent web site, and he has an excellent material that he has out there. And so this is my brother that I met. I'm going to bring him in. He was doing something with his group called Movement Change, not to be mistaken with Movement for Change, which is in St. Petersburg, which is doing some great things in her primary. And her election is coming up November the 4th, and that is Irene Olive Cates. So we're going to plug that too as well, because we got to put our young people in the position with knowledge that knows covert situations. Brother, are you out there, Brother Chauncey? How you feeling, my man? Are you out there tonight?
Yes, sir. Hotep, how you doing, Brother Drybones?
Hotep, man. Good. I'm glad you made it on tonight. Like I was telling everybody before, I let you do the most introduction of what you actually do, but I'm going to just let them know I did have the pleasure of meeting you from your events that you have been doing, which was the one with Brother Carver and with Hidden Covers 3. So without further ado, just give the people a rundown of what you're about and what you've been up to.
Yes, sir. And I just want to, thank you for having me on your show. It's definitely an honor, and I appreciate you reaching out to me regarding this. So I definitely appreciate that. So, definitely, with my company, which is GMOG Media, which stands for Great Man of God Media, LLC, started the company back in 2012. And basically, the company is a media production company. I basically focus on online media content and marketing, and I specialize in that. I use video presentations, things of that nature. I also help market your brand, whatever kind of business that you have, local business. I help promote that using social media and marketing, which is the experience and the knowledge that I have. So I compensate that with all of the information that I learned throughout the years through computer science, because I also have a background and a degree in computer science, and I have a bunch of certifications in information technology, such as, Microsoft, VMware, and Citrix, and all that stuff. So I have a lot of experience with networking and computers, and on top of that, I'm business savvy as well, so I understand the marketing aspect, I understand the branding aspect, things of that nature. Combine all of that information into one with my company, GMOG Media, which is Great Men of God Media. And, things have been, taking off this year. This year, in particular, I brought down the premiere of Hidden Colors 3, which basically in Betty T. Ferguson in Miami Gardens. It was a sold-out show, and a lot of people supported that. And, I branched off to other events as well. I have another upcoming event next month. I'm premiering the movie called Urban Kryptonite.
Right, I've seen that.
Yeah, which is going to be coming out September 19th, which is a Friday at the African American Research Library in Fort Lauderdale, 1 to 5 p.m. Okay. So I encourage the family to come out and support that movie. It's another powerful movie, independent black movie that I support as well. I do a lot of that. Try to support independent black movies and movies that make sense, because I just don't want to support anything. But movies that make sense and movies that have substance, documentaries and things of that nature, I'm all about that. So, I try to do events like that. Also, I do my own events such as community think tanks. I partner up with people who are like-minded like myself, such as Sister Keisha Bowers and her organization, Movements for Change. Partner up with Gael Felix. Also, shout out to my brother who's also listening, Denzel Burnside. We've been working together with certain projects regarding what he's trying to do in his movement. So, I just try to raise the conscious level of our people. I do everything, try to be innovative by shooting, video, posting online on my websites, and I just try to make everything visual, because nowadays, this is the next generation. Everything is computerized. You got the tablets, the smartphones. So I package that in a video presentation form, because a lot of our people, as you know, they don't read as much, if not at all. They read like a little sentence or something on Facebook, hit the like button, share it, and that's it. So we live in that age now, and I try to package what I do as far as important and pertinent information for our people. I try to package it in a video presentation form and try to make it, as innovative as possible.
Well, I noticed that when I met you, you were doing something that I think needs to be even done more. You were bringing community meetings together, having discussions. Probably we'll discuss this with you probably one-on-one on how we can intensify these studies, because we believe a think tank is necessary, and I mean one that is actually in the trenches of thinking. If you have to debate our points, we need to, but we need to do it with sincerity of heart, where we ain't trying to just go off on ego, but trying to make it better for everybody. I like what you were doing with that, and I like the fact that you were bringing people down here. Now, you brought Dr. Kaba down here from the Hidden Colors presentation. Then you was bringing Dr. Umar Johnson down here, and when I was leaving to go from to New York, I was preparing to hear some good things, but it was some misunderstandings with that event. But the event was in such a nice place that a lot of people may have been upset, but the place was very nice that y'all had provided. And you can give a little more detail on what actually happened with that event for those of you who are listening out there.
Yeah, definitely. The Dr. Umar Johnson situation, which transpired last week. Just to give you a little brief understanding of what happened. So, Dr. Umar Johnson was actually here last week. Last week, Tuesday, he arrived. He arrived in Palm Beach County. And he arrived in Palm Beach County that day. He did a lecture that same day at Suncoast High School, which is in Riviera Beach, Florida. So I actually have footage of that event on my YouTube page. If you go to youtube.com, GMOG Media, I have footage of his lecture at the high school. So everything was, great, dandy that day. Even on video, you look at the video, he indicates that he was going to be making an appearance in Miami last week Friday, which is August the 22nd and August the 23rd. We're planning on showing Hidden Colors 3 on that Friday at the Chroma Gallery, and then doing a Q&A after the movie. And then the next day he was going to do kind of like a Black to School rally for his school, the Frank Douglas Marcus Garvey Academy at the Greater St. Paul AME Church last week Friday. So basically, after that day, which was last week Tuesday, a lot of information changed, and this is basically information that I'm hearing from a lot of parties. So this to give you background, how I got involved with Dr. Umar Johnson, I was basically assigned to promote his event. So I didn't have anything to do with assigning or booking his hotel stay, his flights, and all that stuff. That I was not a part of. I was not a part of the business transactions as far as that goes. I was only involved in promoting his event that was in South Florida. So that's what I was doing.
Right.
So basically, I was working with a sister by the name of Courtney Omega. She was responsible for getting the venues for the Miami appearances for Dr. Umar Johnson. She arranged all of that information. And another sister in Palm Beach County by the name of Micheline Charles, she was responsible for bringing Dr. Umar Johnson in Palm Beach County. And basically what happened was, this is a story that I was told from both parties, because there's actually two stories to this. From what I was told is that his hotel stay was not extended. Okay, and the reason why his hotel stay was not extended, and this is from what I'm hearing from Sister Micheline Charles, she basically was paying for everything out of pocket. So she wound up spending basically over $2,500 for his hotel accommodations, flights, food, things of that nature. She was paying out of pocket. And then she couldn't afford to extend his stay. Now, what I'm hearing from Sister Courtney is that she had issues trying to book hotel accommodations for him, and there was a lot of issues with that. And everything from that point on went down from the wayside. So once Dr. Umar Johnson got word of the situation in Miami, he basically canceled the event and went on his merry way. Unfortunately, like I said in my video, I actually made a video about that last week Friday.
Yes, you did.
He basically tries to, protect his brand, which is understandable. He put on his Facebook page that the event was canceled due to, due to false advertising, which is not true, because on the flyer, I've been promoting this event since last month, July. On the flyer, it clearly states, the events and the proceeds will be going to his school, the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. So the whole thing about false advertisement, I don't know exactly what that means, but that's definitely not true. He knew exactly what the flyers entailed. He knew exactly what the events were going to happen. So he already knew about this information. So, like I said, he's just basically trying to protect his brand, which is
cover himself, right? Cover his brand.
Exactly.
Now the thing, the thing with that is, and I sit back and I understand that now. Listen here, everybody. We're bringing them in to come in out of really adoration for what they've been doing in the field of trying to liberate. I always tell people they should have when something goes wrong like that, the courtesy is at least to call somebody, in my opinion, to let people know in a way where they can have proper understanding. Because, I'm sure the place was very nice. I happened to see it. And if I did not see his video, it is a very good video based on the fact of what happened. I thought it was actually a blessing in disguise, man, because the way y'all improvised and was able to get people to get up and talk, to me, that is a challenge for something that may can be started and turned into something even bigger. So I think that was a positive out of that. But in my take of things, why do you think some of the people that we have given, particularly even with Ferguson, are we celebrity-driven people that we have to have a celebrity that we see on YouTube or on videos to actually be able to educate us? Well, what's your take on that?
Yeah, and the thing about that is, Brother Drybones, I think you're absolutely right. I think what the events that transpired last week with Dr. Umar Johnson was definitely an eye-opener, because as you saw in that video, the people who stayed, right, and we filmed what happened. We had it at a community think tank hosted by Denzel Burnside III. People got involved. They spoke, and they were concerned. They expressed their opinions about what's going on in today's society, all things that are transpiring with, the Ferguson situation, Oscar Grant, the Mike Brown situation, all those things that's transpiring right now. It's just what's going crazy. People are definitely concerned, and we got that information on video from last week, and people were great information to share. It was a powerful video. I encourage them to go ahead and watch it. It's on my YouTube channel, GMOG Media. It's called The Convo Party, hosted by Denzel Burnside III. And, that was the day that Dr. Umar Johnson was supposed to make his appearance. He didn't make his appearance, but we still came up with a way to get the people involved.
That's right.
And
it was a very, for those who've ever been there, it was at the Coconut Grove Art Gallery. It was very nice.
The Chroma Gallery. That's a beautiful venue. It's a black-owned venue. It has local black artists there. Beautiful, beautiful art there. You guys got to check that venue out. Wonderful, wonderful venue there. But definitely, I think the problem is that the problem with these celebrities, and I'm even including Dr. Umar Johnson, is that these celebrities, they have one thing in common. They have one huge ego. And you see it, transpire when they try to make appearances and sign autographs and all that stuff. People get starstruck. And that's not enough. That's not enough at all. You don't make no appearances, sign autographs, and that's it.
Well, see, this is where we're at.
You got to put in the leg.
This is why I put the nice show, Do We Have Pride? Is this where we really want to believe that we should be in everybody a reality TV syndrome? We can't listen to one another in our own confines. We got to have outside influences to come in who never really can understand the different dichotomies that are in each city. I was up in New York's dichotomy is not the same as Florida, Georgia, Texas is different, California. So we are actually a state of all different people. And we cannot possibly say we can all understand the situations at hand if you're not living in the area for a period of time to understand what we're dealing with. It's impossible. We're dealing with languages here in this great city of the Miami, MIA. It's languages galore here. And my biggest concern is that I want to have us to start to get together in the way you're doing, think tank, maybe group it up into different segments like think tanks are done, that we don't come out with no animosity. We come out after we get finished with a solution that we can go by, even if it takes some minutes. This doesn't come overnight. And I hope you will continue, man, to keep those community things going, because I believe that it's going to be necessary as we are heading to these next years that are coming upon us. Let me ask you a question. See if you know. Give me the murder capital of America.
Give you the murder capital of America?
What state, what city do you think is the murder capital?
Oh, the murder capital. Okay, yeah, the murder capital. You know, statistically, I think the dominant society, or the media, I should say, the European-controlled media, they like to point the finger at Chicago as the murder capital, but that's not true. These are fabricated.
That is not true.
That's fabricated information. You know, and that's the problem with European-controlled media, right? Because, and I'm going to delve into the situation I was talking about in the video with economics and how we got to have group economics so that we can control things like our own media, our own agriculture, things of that nature. Because the stuff that we purchase, we don't own and we don't control. So therefore, when you watch the television, you're watching things that are not controlled by us. So when you're force-fed information that is from the dominant society, then obviously that stuff is going to be misconstrued. So they're going to force-feed you things that, such as, you know, even with the Ferguson situation, they got, you know, they have footage about the man robbing a liquor store, right, with a pack of cigarettes or something like that. I don't know exactly what it was, but that had nothing to do. Yeah, that had nothing to do with what happened. The man didn't deserve to be murdered in cold blood and shot 6 times.
Exactly.
So the media manipulation.
I agree.
Yeah, the media manipulation is powerful. They're able to just mix and match information and make people believe, and that's how everything is controlled the way it is. So
now,
when you
let me ask you this though, because that's pretty powerful what you said. Can they also make you believe that something else that's not really true that they have set up to be perceived as?
Oh yeah.
For instance, you said about him, and I'll say this again. Me and you both know if I take from a store in the climate that we in now, and I leave a store with an Arab store owner, which is predominantly is the case in most urban neighborhoods, he's going to come out, he's going to start calling for the police, he's going to make a lot of noise while he's calling, I've been robbed. Most of the time they fly into the situation, and when you do not, to me, understand street etiquette or police etiquette, the more you approach a police officer, would you have a police officer tell you to stop right now? Would you walk toward them?
Right, of course not. Definitely not.
Okay, well, that's stop right there.
I mean,
of course not. Of course not. Right there. Right there, we got to stop. That's when thinking comes into play now for our think tank. Automatically, the psyche of a person knowing that you are overly taken by now, you are supposed to stop and say, hell, I'm not giving my life up, because I know that's foolishness to go forward. These people are designed to kill. So, again, this is what we're not putting into play. And so when these people get shot, the media know our people is emotional. They'll throw on that same scenario all day long, have us all riled up, knowing that this was not something that, you know, could be really prevented. The man, you cannot run up on police officers. I tell everybody all the time. You run on police officers, you can tell, you know that. When we are not thinking as a people, we get these situations, and then the media comes in, brings in celebrities. When have you seen a celebrity? Now you know you in Florida. Have you seen celebrities for all the killings we had here in Miami and Fort Lauderdale? What celebrities came to see that?
None.
No. Thank you. So exactly. This is why I'm trying to tell people we got to start thinking. These are divisive means to get people into a situation that can create. And you tell me what you think, because a lot of times we're talking about this, man, and Hidden Colors has showed a lot of tactics that they use in Rosewood, that they use in different parts of the country. They put them under a police state, man, and if people don't understand what this means today, you can burn up your neighborhood all you want, everybody. They don't care. You're not going to touch that financial district. Guarantee it.
Exactly.
Guarantee that.
Right.
Guarantee that. They have been doing black ops operations through Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Atlanta, where they have flown helicopters into financial district areas and done right in the middle of the night. It's been on our news. They do it right in the middle of the night. People wonder what's going on because they're preparing for anything that goes toward their wealth. This has to be discussed. Right. Because if we don't discuss the burn up of neighborhoods and the urban renewal, and I'm going to play a tape at the top of the hour to make this case very clear. So when we get into the top of the hour, we'll go into another a segment here. And but you're welcome to stay on all night if you like. I'll just be bringing more people in, but you are welcome to stay on the call the whole night if you can. Give me a little, before we get to the next segment, that movie you're going to make. Give us a name, and what's the makeup of, what's that about, so we can.
Urban Kryptonite. The name of the movie is called Urban Kryptonite. So people who are familiar with the Hidden Colors series, well, Urban Kryptonite is dealing with health and nutrition from a quote unquote African American perspective. Okay, so you got health practitioners such as Minister Inky, you got Layla Africa, you got Dr. Ali Muhammad, all kinds of people who understand black genetics from a nutrition perspective. They're speaking on what's killing us today, because not only are killing us, not only we're dying from police brutality, systematic white supremacy, racism, but we're dying from the foods that we eat. We're dying because all the foods that we eat are causing these diseases amongst our people. And because of the fact that, like I said, it goes back to what I was saying before with group economics, because we don't control agriculture, we don't control our foods. So we're eating these foods from a Western European diet, and these foods are not designed for us. And so this particular film breaks that down, and this helps educate us on what we need to do to prevent these kind of diseases. Now, we had Professor Inky was down. Professor Inky came down to our place down in South Florida. When he came, Brother Billy brought him down here, and he was saying some interesting things as well. Let me ask you something about the food, because now there's been many states that have fought for GMO labeling. Now, this was brought to the table on this show based off what happened up in, I deal with other parts of Florida as well, which I think we have to. Pinellas County, Lakeland, Lehigh, these areas, Lake Wells, this is the heart of Florida, so you got to understand there's a lot of thinking going on in this whole state. When you say health problem, we don't really have farms. And we seem to want to get involved with GMO labeling, which would have at least been a voice for the people. Now, it still could be done. But I ask people, if you ain't going to get involved with the political, I don't know your political affiliation, but there's things to stop certain things that we seem to be not understanding. And I think that's what you can probably bring to the table with your video company, of the GMO bills that are already there for our people to say, we want that. We want to know what's in our food. If the powers that be don't see us excited about what we eating, we can go to the Tom Joyner family reunion and eat all the McDonald's we want. That's his sponsor. That's his sponsor. Exactly.
That's his sponsor. You got to eat.
Exactly.
So this is where we're coming from. How do we, divert this celebrity-driven people to go back to nature?
Again, this goes back to what I was saying, how important group economics is. We need to form our own group, our economic base. Once we have an economic base, we can establish having our own farming system, our own agriculture, and then we have infrastructure to build our own plants that distributes food that are black-owned. This is the information that I get from Dr. Claude Anderson. His books, Powernomics and Black Labor, White Wealth. Those books right there are very important to me. So I try to model that and try to present it through my company as far as teaching people about group economics, and that's very important. Because we don't own
Dr. Claude has been out a long time. Yeah, Dr. Claude Anderson. Matter of fact, man, so it's strange because you said I don't know when you met him, but he came down to Chief Jimmy Brown's church, who's over Hot Talk, back in a long time ago when they was doing the reparation movement, and I'm gonna bring that up to the top of the hour because you mentioned something about reparation, and he pretty much said if we didn't do certain things now, I read the book too. He said we'll be a permanent underclass if we don't do certain things by a certain amount of time. You familiar with that part of it? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a fact. Now, Dr. Claude also says by our lack of circulation of money, and that's why I think we got to have a town hall meeting with all of us, because we got different. Remember now, man, and I brought this up. There's different ethnic groups of us. Just because we are black, our mindset is in different parts of Europe.
Exactly.
Yep. And you know where I'm coming from. Everybody got the Queen's English, and then we got my Haitian brothers love the French. We the renegade USA renegade English. Then we got the German. We got so many dichotomies of thinking here. That's why I think these think tanks are going to be crucial, and we should really get together on that with some people to put together and make it where it's not all open either. Should be done where we can get a good field of people to get some things done, because health is going to be good, but we got to have people go and find these health banks, these health food spots, because we don't grow much food. Mexican, everybody is our farmers now. Look it up.
Right.
We're not the farmers like we used to be after Reconstruction, where we had the best farmers. We lost it all, everybody. Just do research, you find the black farmers filed bankruptcy. They didn't get the full reparations. They're still playing, and we're going to play something at the top of the hour. I'm going to bring some callers in at the top of the hour to set it up. This food thing now, Agenda 21, now, everybody needs to be aware of this. They are buying up huge tracts of land throughout this whole continent. Foreigners. I want us to start to understand that the new immigration policies, now I don't know if you are familiar with this, Brother Chauncey, but they are very divisive. And you know where we live at, and many of you know we have a high immigration area. What is your take on what you're seeing as the borders maybe open up? You see that the job market can get possibly worse?
Oh, yeah. Again, like you were saying, what Dr. Claude Anderson was saying, if we don't do things in a certain amount of time, we will be basically extinct. Okay, we will not be we will not matter until we have an economic base. We will not matter for anything. Our money our spending power is at the trillions of dollars, but we don't pool our money together like we need to, like other groups. We don't pool our money together like other groups, such as the Italians, such as the Jewish community, and the Arab community, so on and so forth. We don't do that, and so if we don't do that, we will be irrelevant, and that's the problem. Right. We have so many, just like you said, we have so many dichotomies of us within the United States. We can't agree on one thing because you got the Moors over here, you got the Islam faith people over here, you got the quote-unquote Christians over here. You got so many sects of peoples and so many sects of religious beliefs, that we can't agree upon one thing, and that's the problem. And that's why we're at the state we're at right now. We see so many things happening to our people. It's becoming the new Jim Crow era, just like Michelle Alexander's book. It's becoming the new Jim Crow era right now because they are just doing a terrible amount of things to our people, and we have no economic base to counter what's going on. So, again, we have to go back to the basics.
Let me say this.
We have to go back to the basics.
Let's just say we're going to start analyzing. Now, you did a perfect job, man, bring me to the top of the hour. And before we go into the top of the hour, I got a clip for everybody to listen to. It's only 1 minute and 18 seconds. And when we come back after listening to this clip, I want you to be ready to answer some questions. Because this is what everybody claiming this man said or did not say, but here it is from himself.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Y'all heard that, everybody. That was the late Dr. Martin Luther King, and he went and got his check. He got checked right out of this world because we didn't have pride enough in ourselves to take it further. It's at a standstill right now, the civil rights movement. Those of you who have studied it, who really understands it, you know it's under the control of a group. You do your research. Mary Overton was the founder of the NAACP, and to this day, it has picked people like Donald Sterling as the poster child to get an NAACP award prior to him saying he didn't want no blacks at the Clippers game. He was about to get an award. Dr. King said they gave huge government subsidies to finance the upper echelon of the Europeans to come here and have prominence, was governmentally put together. That's what Dr. King said. I ain't say it. He also said that they had low interest rates. See, everything we talk about, the plan already said. We are so late, it's frightening. Dr. King did. And without any pride, we let them put Mahatma Gandhi in the front of the King Center in Atlanta, Georgia. Dead niggas gonna be soon when the CDC gets started up. You let, that's no pride. How can that be that the Mann Center has Mahatma Gandhi picture in the front, but not Dr. King? Because that speech right there, he said they gave Congress, with an act of a pen, said, you got this. We got you. We're going to get into part 2 tonight, and I'm going to leave it. I'm going to go into part 2. It says, O.E.B. Drybones. Here's another statistic, everybody. This should be listened to. Most of the world has greater confidence in Obama than in Putin to do the right thing in the world affairs by better than 2 to 1, median of 57 to 23%. accuracy, according to 44 nation polls. They said what happened was, though, Putin got a little crazy after the Olympics, and a little conflict took place with the Malaysian airline. See, while you're talking about Ferguson, the Malaysian airline thing is out of your mind, which is even more deeper, believe it or not. I hate to say it like that because y'all know that happens all the time, and y'all have not done anything in your own cities to stop it. So let's not let the media get us riled up on one city when your city has got it doing it every other week. Here it is again. Why was Malaysia Airlines taken down? Well, we found out Russia was bringing in weapons on our airlines. And Russia is now forgiving debt. So we're going to get into our Latin sister soon. Russia is forgiving debt, y'all. That's strange. On Sunday, we'll be explaining the year of Jubilee and some of these things why the earth is going through a transformation. But here it is. Then they had the nerve to call the third war Isis, of the goddess of Kemet. How can we watch that and not be totally saying this is not, can't be, this is rigged? Says it's Al-Qaeda. It says a human biological warfare experiment, y'all. I want you to listen to this. It's not coming from me. It is a biological mutation of Al-Qaeda. A human biological warfare experiment created by white and Arab religious political fundamentalists. Repeat. A human biological warfare experiment created by white and Arab religious political fundamentalists, wealthy zealots, and here's the key word, and scientists, unleashed in the world initially to destroy socialism. That sounds like the old Vatican Illuminati wars with the Crusaders. Socialism, unchecked growth of imperialism, capitalism, racism, and religious slavery. This is what they're claiming to bring in to the third war, the code name Isis, of the Kemetic goddess of Horus. Y'all don't find that strange at all? For those of you in the symbolism, if that's not strange to you, give me some feedback from you, 6429. Let me bring you in here.
Yes, sir. You don't love me though.
Yes, I do.
What's up,
I gotta come to a parking lot to get a hug.
Well, you didn't even give me a hug. I gave you a hug.
Somebody giving hugs. We can't even go to that call. 8848.
Drybones, welcome back to Miami. It's Noelita.
Yes. Thank you, my sister. We back in MIA. How you feeling now?
Thank you. I just came in.
Go ahead.
From a conference, and I know that you would have liked it. But at any rate,
okay.
What I just caught from you was very interesting because what has caught my attention and what I question is the cavitation of the reporter, the American reporter. You know, it's not something where he was capitated by, you know, an Arab. He was capitated by a British man. So,
right.
You know, I question things like that, like a British, you know, a man from London.
This is the stuff that I'm trying to get people to see. Right now, everybody, they are using a PSYOP. It's called subliminal suggestion. If you've seen it, we cannot be dumb to this. We have heard it in movie theaters. They're doing it through the television, and they're doing it at a rapid rate. One of the questions I wanted to ask you about Ferguson was going on, I mentioned to you, because I believe this is going to be talked about very soon in the MIA with the connection between Russia and with Fidel Castro, Cuba. What's your take on that? I brought it to your attention. What you got to say?
Yes, you did bring it to my attention. That was very interesting to find out because I did not know this. And it just goes to show that all along Russia never left the ties with Cuba. And another thing is that Cuba was always very much tied with Venezuela from a very, very long time ago. And it's all a mechanism, it's all a system where it's oneness. I always specify this. It's oneness. It has to do with that agenda of one, of having that one world government,
right.
of domination. So Russia never broke ties with with Cuba, and you would think that all this time, Russia now is very free. They don't have a communism, but then come on, what's going on with Cuba? We still have communism. But how
right.
funny, Putin is going to Cuba and telling Fidel Castro, hey, don't even worry about it.
Now all this is going on, everybody. I'm gonna bring some more callers in here. All this is going on with just going on in Ferguson and over here. Let me get a 0460. 0460. You on the air? Oh, you Drybones. 0460.
Hey, Hotep, what's up, brother? This is Beniti.
Hotep, how you doing? What's up, brother? How you feeling?
Good. I'm feeling good. Just tuned in on the tail end of it, so didn't get the whole story of everything that was being discussed. But I tuned in when you guys were talking about the beheading of the ISIS, the British member that beheaded the so-called American journalist. But one thing you also got to factor in if you do the research on that, he was born and raised in England, but he's of Egyptian descent. His father was Egyptian. And what they're doing, what a lot of people got to pay attention to with this whole ISIS thing, now they're claiming there's 500 Westerners that have defected and joined that cause. That's what they're saying. We know it's a lot more than that. The problem that people really got to take into consideration, this group does or sets up what they call a lot of isolated attacks. And this is not to create any fear for us in here in the United States, but it's a reality. Any one of these clowns can get on a bus with a backpack, any city bus. You understand? There's really no way of stopping this. So what they're trying to do now is instill worldwide fear, because I heard some people talking about the New World Order. And the reason why I bring that up is because that's part of the plan, to set worldwide panic and fear so you could establish martial law. Because once it gets to the point where citizens feel like they have no control, then it creates a reason for the government to come in and establish what they call martial law. And what people need to research is, under martial law, you have no property rights. You don't own anything. They can come to your doorstep, and if your house is in a strategic point, they can use it for a military base or a command base, and you have no say in the matter. It doesn't matter if you own it. So what do you really own? That's another thing you have to factor in. When martial law is in full effect, which they've been trying to establish for the last 20-plus years, when that's in full effect, a lot of things change for a lot of people. And I know we have, discussed, many different shows about setting up our own program or our own systems where we rely on ourselves. But when it gets to that point, if nothing is in place, you become a victim to that. But we're seeing this.
That's where we at. That's where. That's where I'm going to, right there. You can keep going in a minute. Let me just ask you, because of that, and all you are listening, I'll bring more in, because we don't talk about that. We have this tendency to talk, I believe, in the 60s and somewhat in the 70s, because that's all they show us. Our icon is this era that has never really been explained to us properly. On why would you have civil rights? Civil rights, when y'all get into, when we do our show on Sunday, y'all, I invite everybody to come in. We will discuss. But if it's Roman law, it's Roman law. I mean, we have to go where people understand that's not something that we should be trying to validate ourselves with civil rights, everybody. I mean, if you think about it, what's going on, we are still doing that same era. What's your take on with the covert activities? I would think everybody in the whole friggin', I would say union. I don't call it the United States no more. The North American Union, I believe, is all being channeled.
Well, something that you just said. First of all, we can't demand civil rights. The civilizers can't demand civil rights from the uncivilized. We have to establish that. How can we, who have civilized the whole planet, who have educated the whole planet, who are responsible for every technology, every science, every culture, whether it's watered down in its modern form, has pretty much come from original Nubians all across the planet. So number one, we never understood the concept of the civil rights movement. See, that's the trick. Number one, we've been demanding, the civilizers can't demand civil rights from the uncivilized. That's something we got to establish in our minds, because that's a trick knowledge in itself. And I know a couple of shows back we discussed, when we look at the ethnicities on the planet, and I think we discussed this one time, we brought it up, every ethnicity, let's not confuse ethnicity with race, so-called ethnicity that we're categorized as, whether it be Jamaican, Haitian, Panamanian, Cuban, Dominican, whatever nationality that they've given us, the slave master, that's part of the trick, where we're under the illusion of this minority thing, where we have in our minds that the minority has to request civil rights. See, that's part of the plan. If we would stop letting these ethnicities separate and divide our way of thinking, and realize when we put all those ethnicities together, you're either Mongoloid, Negroid, or Caucasoid. You fall under one of the three. That's really what it boils down to. All those sub-ethnicities fall under one of those three. When we start thinking like that, and even though we might have cultural differences, regardless of what part of the planet we're on, when we start realizing that we come from the same gene pool, a lot of that nonsense will stop and minds will unite. But see, we're still under this illusion, and I've always said this. If you get pulled over in a car and there's a Jamaican, a Haitian in there, and a black American, the cop look at all of you as niggas. They don't care. They ain't going to pull over and say, oh, what are you? You're Jamaican. Or what are you? You're Haitian. No. They look at you all the same. When they look at us like that, but we don't look at each other like that. We let slave master's language separate us, his mindset separate, divide, and conquer us. Nothing will change. What were you going to say, brother?
I think that's very true when it comes to the parents. Let me get some more people in here. Hold tight. I'm hearing some noise back there. One of y'all eating. Let me get 3364. 3364, you on the air. Oh, you on the air. 3364. Okay.
You hear me, right? You hear me?
I hear you, brother. Come on in here. Come on in.
Yeah. My brother there, he just answered his question about martial law, man. We've been under martial law since 1555. If you black, you got melanin, man. So what you worry about martial law for, man? Okay, we always been under martial law if you black, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I can give a damn about what they doing over there in Iraq, man. That's our land anyway. The land of Canaan, that's us anyway. So they going to have to be cleansed, man. All them folks over there, they got to leave, man. That's our spot. All right? So I'm just like Dr. Right.
When you say our spot, and let me get this right because I know where you come from. It's our spot, but what we want to do now is get the resources off of that spot, because the earth is the resource. Without the real estate of where the resource is at, that seems to be the problem. Like if I got gold or oil under my land, I'm pretty valuable. If I don't reciprocate that value to the people, man, then what do we have? How do we explain Nigeria, who is rich in oil but not sharing it with its people? How do you explain that?
Well, see, Nigeria and all that over there, you know who sent Ebola over there? Bill Gates, man. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's how people hood, where they don't realize that they're being hoodwinked, man. But right now, these Europeans had 6,000-year rule, man. Okay? And y'all talking about civil rights, it's human rights. Hue, what hue mean, man? Hue mean color. Okay? Hue, right. Man, that's black, man, that's us. So all we got to do, they system failed it, man, all right? They time is up, fellas. They time is up. White man rule, time is up. All right? So we just got to watch the phone. All right?
We're going to do it. We're going to do it. All right, let me take some more callers in there. Appreciate your call, Beth. Stay with us. I'll bring you back in here. Any comment on what we've been hearing so far? What is your take on Brother Chauncey? You still with us?
Like, wait, you can't be like that anymore? Then that's when I have to.
Yes, sir, brother. I'm still here.
Okay. And what we were discussing, I'm sure you were here. What's your take on not having a program set up? If by chance something was to take off, how would you think our response would be? Pretty chaotic, wouldn't you think, if we did not sit down and start to strategize?
Well, again, this goes back to having these think tanks, these forums. Obviously, we don't have an economic base, so we got to start from the grassroots level, right?
Exactly.
We got to have these think tanks. We got to stay in these rooms until we come out with some kind of solution. And the basic solution, family, is, like I said, you got to establish economic base, right? And number two, we got to re-examine these local, state, and federal laws, because obviously, back to the Jim Crow era, they have a lot of these laws. You can go back into the slave codes, the slave codes, and all of these laws are still in place. They're just hidden. We got to learn how to dissect these laws and repeal these laws and get the legislators to retract these laws that are on the books.
Now that's something with the brother. Now the brother who just finished talking, he said something very deep. He said we've been this way since 1555. Now, I think that it does make sense that we do look at these laws, because from the concept they would have to have restraint on a slave population. It conceives slave population. You got to have constraints. Where we at now in this so-called age of the new millennium, we seem to still not have a basic understanding of law, because, of course, it was never taught to us. It was never taught to us this way. So, you see how we have many black lawyers. Let's just look at us for a minute, because I don't like to sometimes attack the white man. It's too easy. But let's look at us. We got a bunch of lawyers, don't you think? Most of black lawyers. I would think we have quite a few. You see any reason why we are so lax of not knowing about these laws, being that we have a very large percentage of black lawyers and black attorneys? They just don't seem to want to have the willingness to come in and talk to our people in a serious manner.
Well, not only that, guess what law firm they work for? They work for the Europeans.
Yeah.
The law firms are owned by the Europeans, so they have no say.
Right. So that's my point. See, I'm looking at all the avenues before we start. We got to look at every avenue before we approach it. I already looked at that, and I'm thinking to myself, that may not be the answer. But then it should be, because I'm going to be honest with you, and then y'all answered y'all out there, don't y'all find it strange the Ku Klux Klan, regardless what y'all might say, do the research, the Ku Klux Klan and the Nation of Islam had a very close coalition back in the day. They are able to rally their people to get a lawyer immediately. I mean, they spent $250,000 through this thing called You Give or something, Go Give on Facebook and stuff. What's our problem? I mean, Reverend Pickney, who is having a battle, because I want y'all to know, no one has said, can anybody give me the number one area with the murder capital? So before we get started, y'all can just yell it out. Anybody know the murder capital?
Newark, New Jersey.
No. Next. Somebody, just name it out. It's sad. And they've been these are the 6 number one murder capitals since 1985 to 2012. It's only been the 6. And one more, man. Somebody give me one more, man. Come on. I got
Chicago.
No, Chicago. Man said it earlier. Chauncey, you was right earlier. Chicago has not even been close.
Right.
Not even been close. Not even been close. One more. I'm gonna just tell everybody. One more. Somebody. Cities now. Cities in
Tennessee.
What?
Tennessee.
Tennessee now. Here we go, y'all. Number one murder capital. Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Number 2, actually, Flint, Michigan. So that's 2 Michigans already. Reverend Pickney and the people of Detroit, they're about to turn y'all water off again. I've seen it on the news. I've seen it on y'all news. May the God of our ancestors have mercy on y'all, because y'all about to get it. They are about to turn the water off on them again, y'all. That's sad. Their real estate has plummeted. Remember, Dr. King, they have taken black real estate, y'all, and made it into pennies. And y'all watch it. Tonight's show is, do you have pride in ourselves? Number 2, Little Weezy land. New Orleans, Louisiana. That's why Little Weezy them on TV all the time. They putting a spell on y'all. Y'all don't know why he on there? You better look up the history of Louisiana. They have more black slave owners than most states can conceive of. Look up who had the slave owners, who were black. They came from Louisiana. Birmingham, Alabama. They just ain't playing football. And, of course, the Masonic capital of these Americas, Richmond, Virginia, and the District of Columbia. Those are the 6 that has been in the final 6 for the past, from 1985 to 2012. Consistency in the murder of more dead niggas. I told you we will not stop until y'all get it, and it's going to be serious. Tonight I wanted to ask y'all a question. Homicide. You know, this is not white people shooting black people. How many of y'all think, what's our homicide rate? Anybody? Give me a homicide rate you think we have. Anybody? Malika, tell me what the Hispanic homicide rate is.
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, y'all was doing pretty good. Y'all went from 15 to actually a little below about 4 in 2010. White people went from 15 in 93 to about 7. And, of course, we had 30% in 1993. We did go down. We had 15, so we dropped 15% of all the homicides as white on white, black on black, and Hispanic on Hispanic. These are facts that we got to take a look at when you have a think tank. Think tanks ain't on emotion. Think tanks on statistics. What is driving us crazy? My man said food. Well, you know, food is a very powerful thing, and no one would deny that. I wouldn't. Let me bring some more calls in while they're coming in here. I want to hold the line. Go ahead. You're coming from, let me get you in here. 0800. 0800.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
All right, my brother. How you feel tonight?
I'm doing all right. I was sitting here, didn't mean to push one, but since I'm on now, I just want to say you dead on point. You know what I'm saying, with that ISIS analogy and everything.
Well, we trying to do what we can, brother, because I'm trying to make it simple and plain. I'm with this program where if it's too complicated, it can't be for the people. And it's real, man. It's real. I see a lot of us are now realizing these are 4 wars going on. We got a war on our own land. We got a war going on in Central America. We got a war going on in Africa. And we got a war going on in so-called Middle East. And no one seems to realize which one is the worst, unfortunately. What's your take on, you don't have to give me your area code, but I know it's a different one. In your area, what's your take on what's going on in your area? Do y'all feel confident with the police force?
I tend to take a universal approach, being that our people are, you know what I'm saying, universal. There's already a pattern been established. The brother said 1555 earlier, but I will beg to differ and say go back to the Treaty of Verona, which is 1213. You know what I mean? Which, you know, we have to deal in numerology too. So the Treaty of Verona states that
yes, that's another one.
That we're all subjects of the Vatican, and the Vatican is hypothecating right now.
Well, you hit a point right there, brother. Stay with it. I'll keep with you. The Vatican, run by the Latin world for the first time, a Jesuit named Pope. This Pope came as the Jesuit Pope. Look at what's going on with the Latin world, as you just say. Is this really what could be the Holy See coming back on to our side to take over what they think is deemed by manifest destiny? Manifest destiny has never left. I mean, it's hard to believe that something that long ago it still has precedent, but it has never left. What's your take on that? But I didn't believe in this.
I mean, understanding the enemy, which we know in the biblical text was Japheth or Japheth in the Hebrew, which means two-tongued deceiver or deception. You have to understand polarity with everything. Operation, everything which has a head has a tail, meaning, polarity. There's always, two different forces.
Yeah, two forces, right.
Whatever they put out there, you have to turn it around. It's always the opposite.
Right.
You have to decipher it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Decode it. And what's been going on, and if you look at it, if you lay out the map, then you look at it over here in the Western Hemisphere. You said Detroit, and then you said New Orleans. You know what I mean? That's like right on the head. That's polarity. You look to the north, in the Crown in Detroit. What's going on there is it's been discovered that in the city of Detroit is one of the richest lands that real estate that there is here on this side. And what's happened is our people there have technology that's being usurped and sold. There's already been information by Brother Ron March up there that he's put out that there's technology that's being sold pertaining to apparatus pertaining to the water.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Fresh water. Yes, fresh water.
Right, the water. But they found that the Great Lakes up there, there's enough water up there to supply. You know what I'm saying? More than half the world and everything.
That's right. That's my area. I just came from the Below. We on Lake Erie. That is the largest fresh reservoir of water, everybody. Remember Reverend Pickney told you that they were trying to buy Lake Michigan for water. Now, I want y'all to know this. This is why it's important to understand what this martial law, what brother, I don't know if he's still with us. Benendi, are you still out there?
Yeah, I'm still here, brother.
Okay, you mentioned about how the martial law and all this is going on into the confiscation of the land. They have really just taken ancient lingo, put it into modern tech, and call it eminent domain. They call it different legal terms where they can just confiscate land. Why is the people so unaware, in your estimation, of these precepts of taking from the ancient into the modern? Where's that disconnect? Because it seems like it is total disconnect.
Right. Again, like one of the brothers said earlier, there has always been, martial law, whether you've subliminally been aware of it or unaware of it, as far back as the 12 and 1500s, depending on what time frame we go back to. We got to establish the fact. First of all, if you take for an example, I heard one of the brothers mention, we were talking about Louisiana. The only way, and I'm not saying it has to be done the same way, the disconnect is not having knowledge of the self, our DNA, and our tribal roots. Meaning, if you look at Empress Viridiace in the Washita, now even though she's got a lot of situations going on where people have tried to railroad her because they found an angle, but she came forward with deeds and documents and they had to turn over thousands of acres of land to her because by birthright, before the colonization of the United States, a lot of us have family ties can prove that we own, and this land rightfully belonged to us by blood. That's how we can only get true ownership. Now, the disconnect comes not having knowledge of that. See, you can buy a house, pay off the mortgage, but you're still paying property taxes. You don't really own anything. And until we get that fact established, that can be taken away from us at any given moment. You also mentioned about the fresh water, Lake Erie. You understand? A lot of those lakes in Louisiana that surround her acreage, she owns that. The United States can't go there. They gave her the right to cultivate, establish her land, set up, and I know I heard a couple brothers mention an economic base. She set up her own banking system. She set up her own education system, got her own doctors, her own medical system. See, that's the only solution. Now, I know it's easier said than done because it's not easy. It takes a lot of unifying to come together because until we establish rightful ownership by heritage, because they can't refute that. And if you go back and look at, I'm using her situation just as something to go look at and research. If you look at, and she obtained her land, and she got full ownership going at the end of the Bush administration to the Clinton administration, and they didn't refute it. They didn't fight it because she has the land documentation, the family deeds. Now, a lot of us, believe it or not, tie into some of these tribes. We have family roots and connections to it, but we're just not digging deep because we've accepted the fact of what they identified with us. So the disconnect comes from lack of knowledge, not just a broad range of spiritual knowledge. We're talking more now historical knowledge and family lineage of self. Because, see, they don't want us waking up, and that's why I mentioned earlier, if we establish who we are and take away the ethnicities that they've identified us with, we'll see it's going to tie us into a whole nother indigenous category that they don't want us to wake up and see.
Well,
and like you said, yeah.
Go ahead. Like I said, what?
No, you wanted to speak, right?
No, I thought you were going to say it. No, I was saying.
No, what I was going to say, you mentioned earlier, what I wanted to say, you mentioned that we have so many lawyers amongst us.
Right.
We have a lot. Right. We have a lot of lawyers that have the knowledge, that have the education, that know the ways around the laws, that we would be able to actually come together and utilize some of these resources for beneficial. But I mean, here's the thing, and I don't want to bring up something different, but I looked at any time there's a disturbance, and I got to go to Ferguson right now. Then all these scavengers come out. And, when it's a race card and a couple of bucks can be made, now you see people like Sharpton, you see people like Jesse Jackson. I don't even want to get into that because that's a whole other story.
Right.
But what I'm saying is these guys and Rainbow Push Coalition and NAACP, we know it's all run by Jews, and they're being programmed. They come out when there's a few bucks to be made, hold a few hands. We got to stop marching. You understand? Marching, that's not the answer no more. It's time for revolution. It's time for war, and it's time for action. If we want radical change, and I'm not saying to go out there and do something stupid, but what I am saying is now time to prepare to defend. There's no more talking. Because how many times are we going to march and watch people get shot in cold blood innocently? These marches ain't doing shit. Because soon as things calm down, that's the problem with us as people. Soon as things settle down and we start to accept it, things just go back to the same way they were, and then it'll rise back up when another innocent black kid is killed.
That's a very valid point. Now, here's what we all been looking at, which is strange. Everybody's state, y'all been in different parts of this country, I'm sure, on these calls. Every state is totally different, man. You got some parts of Florida that is like still in the 60s or 70s mentality to me in some parts of the middle. It's everywhere. Now, unfortunately, and that's why I want to do this show on Sunday, y'all, because these words that y'all been hearing all y'all lives in the King James, they sound about remnant. That's a key word. That's a very key word. We put a lot of energy, like you said, Sister Mother of the Moors, she did have a business and all that going. It was lots of blacks that had that going on. Up until Reconstruction, everybody, we had major tracts of land. I mean, it wasn't like we were like landless. We had farms. We lost it. We need to look at the period of when did we lost it to now, because That's a very serious period. You heard Dr. King say they trained whites how to farm with government money. That's why I put that speech on. Huh. He said they trained. He told y'all what they did. It's not a secret no more.
Right.
The government did this. The government who the world believes Obama, everybody. I'm giving statistics. This to show that facts matters. The world believes Obama is the man that's going to set the world right. Now, y'all can play with it if you want. Is he? He looks like many of us. History is a very serious thing, y'all. It can hurt your ass, cause you bad diarrhea if you don't understand it good. We got some issues. Here.
Yeah. That's one of our main problems there. What you were saying, brother. History.
Yeah, everybody look black. You know, I don't understand why we got this. The world is, everybody know this. The world is predominantly people of color, hue, like the brother said. That's not the issue no more. The issue is, how long are we going to allow this situation to occur? The situation to occur, you can get right in, brother, that can create a very serious problem for us and people in the inner city. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, brother Drybones, and another good point. That's another game we're getting caught up in. And like you just said, the brother mentioned earlier, it's not just a black thing no more, because now amongst the black conscious community, and I mentioned this before, we got people exposing that and using it for their benefit. And the way to gauge that is a lot of these, you know, these organizations and these groups that are claiming Kemetic and African, a lot of it is too much, or we know the problem. And my confrontations and discussions with them is basically, if we took out the hate the white man school and blame the white man for all of our problems, what would they really have to talk about? So a lot of these organizations, too, are feeding off our emotions, because we're in a time now, we can't sit around. We know what the white man has done. We know what history has done, and we're not questioning that. That can't be changed. We can identify with the greatness of ourselves in the past, but we're not living in the past. It's 2014, sitting around talking about when we were in our glory in Egypt and Africa. That's not doing shit for us in 2014. It's nice. It's great to build your confidence and instill pride and dignity. I'm all for that. But we're in America. We're living in 2014, and I tell all my brothers, just to get them to think, if you want to go back to Africa, go. You understand? Because it ain't peaches and roses there either. We see what they're doing over in Africa, and if you think you're going to put on a dashiki and pump your fist in the air and everything's going to be, your problems all solved, you're fooling yourself. Because Africa got more problems.
Now, you just said Africa. Now, everybody, while all this is going on, in Ferguson, Ebola is running rampant in Africa.
Yep.
We have, the news have shifted. It shifted your mind to Ferguson. What state was Percy and Ferguson at? Was that Missouri?
I believe so.
Oh, see, Percy Ferguson, that was Missouri.
Right.
They got a case. Anyway.
But you just mentioned. Right, because you just mentioned the Ebola in Africa. Did everybody see on the news the part, I think it's in Monrovia, where they literally turned it into a concentration camp? They set up metal fences. They won't let infected people leave a certain perimeter. We're starting to see apocalyptic type resources being used. They're literally keeping these people behind steel man-constructed fences and won't let them roam a certain perimeter. That's mass genocide, and we were taught. Years ago.
Hold on. Hold on now, because you get deep on. Let's put that in perspective, everybody. You have been seeing movies for the past 25 years.
That's right.
That have shown us that we was going to be encaged. They have been using this subliminal suggestion so powerful that it's acceptable now. It's actually happening. And we're so subjected because they have played, we had shows on this, scientific management. Now, you heard me say earlier that this thing on ISIS with the white and Arab elite, which is the allegiance that we will talk about only on Sunday, where in order to elevate into the Eastern world from the Western world is to where affairs. And because the Western world has made allegiance with the Eastern world, through the world of law merchants, the law merchants today, which is still going back to the ancient. I don't know how we can't get around the ancient somehow, man. I don't know. Because it's still there. It's not never going away. So we figured that it's dealing with that. This is what's going on, everybody. They are. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, y'all tell me I'm wrong. Statistically, give me the one ethnic group for sure got stores in the black neighborhood.
Arabs.
Okay, we ain't got to go no further. Just because of that alone, don't you find it strange that the people that are merchants at a high scale in a neighborhood that was also controlled just like Africa? See, the Arab Moroccans, they took care and destroyed the Sudanians. They were their army, their slaves. They were the darker in hue. Think about it. Take a look at it from that point over here. Nothing changed. They still in that same vendor. What we are not failing to understand is it's a war going on, everybody, that you have been placed in, that you have been put in without your own agreement. And until we understand that you've been placed in it without all of us have been placed in without our own agreement, they will continue it until we wake up from it. Now, the bad thing is that we know we're not going to have utopia wake up. That ain't going to happen. But the main thing is many of us are waking up, and as many wake up, that is the Masonic meaning of the remnant. We don't need a lot of people. Matter of fact, get it out your mind that you're going to have a lot of people. The people are under the power of Jesus. They are called the sheep. The power of Jesus takes the sheep over the cliff. Ain't that what the sheep do? They go over the cliff. It says lambs led to the slaughter. That's in your books, which we will be going only on Sunday with. Only on Sunday with. The day of the sun. Because y'all will soon see that they have played us to where we have now understood that we are our problem. They could never be our problem. We have put
absolutely, brother. They took our deity from inside of us and put them in the sky, and the people in the church and the people in the churches are sitting around thinking that the church is a building when the church is inside of you. And your deity, right. your quote unquote God is right between the middle of your eyes.
Well, you know, I'm loving this. I'm appreciating everybody staying in lines. are really lit up. I'm gonna let some more people in. Y'all can stay over if you can. Let me get a certain because brother, turn your radio down. I want to hear you. You was at the event. My brother here was at the event. He spoke. This is my brother Luck, and tell us a little bit what's going on, man. How you feel?
Hey, I'm feeling good, brother. Enjoying the show. I was pretty much listening. I got in on late on it. Man, I don't know what to say. Actually, I wanted to kind of say we must understand the religious structure as it's known today is pretty much the mindset of a Nordic type of white concept where they've infused into a lot of these religious symbolisms and practices, Nordic traditions and symbolisms. So are we clear on terms of just trying to differentiate where they infuse some of their traditions and mythos into the ancient Egyptians, how would you say, mythos as well, and created what we have today? And of course, it's still using the same type of magic, white magic, but which I call it that. But it's still powerful.
It's powerful.
Have we clearly defined this Nordic mindset, this Northern European mindset and how it has pretty much permeated this world.
And let me ask you this, because you was at the event that Brother Chauncey had for Dr. Omar Johnson. You was there, and you were one of the people who stayed, and it turned out wonderful. Tell the people a little bit what you talked about, what you took in the context of that paper.
I talked about the U.S. Custom Building and the 4 monuments erected in front of it, and the symbolism represented in the monuments as females, for one, which we know those are the seed layers of civilizations. But the one depicted as Africa is depicted in such a way that is very reflective of the condition and the historical evolution, the condition of blacks today, especially America. But they were so aware in advance of what they were doing back then that they put it out there in plain sight and plain view. But I'm sure millions of people have walked in front of those buildings every day and never took notice. But the artist that did those particular monuments, you have to pretty much think that his mindset and his level of awareness are probably in the secret society or order lets them know how they're going to communicate, or he was able to at least transfer the message to those who are enlightened to see the message. So how to maintain, especially the African original peoples of this planet. But those 4 continents have a message clearly. Of course, they'll use a layman term to describe the message for what I would call the Gorms, but those who are pretty much into it and aware can pretty much see those messages clear. But take a visit and look at those monuments, and you'll kind of see how the story is told. But the most important thing is the symbolism. The black male or the African male is not represented in physical form, but in the form of a lion that is sleeping underneath the arm of the black woman. Because as she sleeps, her lion is also subdued. So today, you find these brothers and sisters today are pretty much, especially the brothers, are lions with no teeth, are not really able or groomed to be able to defend the race, because as the lion is subdued, so is the mother.
Hold on. Before you give too much away, because I want that to be something that I want Brother Chauncey, if he could, to actually do something with you that you can have the backdrop of the pictures to show these pictures that are in New York City, y'all, and it's in front of the most. What's the name of that building, brother? Tell how important that building is to the people.
The U.S. Custom Building is responsible for conducting all of the business transactions of this government. In fact, the Louisiana Purchase itself was conducted through the U.S. Custom Building. The IRS was pretty much built out of the U.S. Custom Building. So you have to understand how important that building is. For that building to have those symbolisms in front of it, you have to really clear the message that's being displayed or being conveyed. So take your time and go look up those particular monuments. But also keep in mind, what does that building represent?
That's right. Represent.
The Louisiana Purchase was done through the U.S. Custom Building. So that lets you know how important it is. The IRS is run through there.
And here we go again, brother. I said, what's the murder capital? Louisiana. Always been the murder capital. That's where the Louisiana Purchase land, which is connected to the Haitian Revolution as well. Yeah. Let me get some more people on here. Hold on. Let me get some more people here, y'all. I'm going to try to bring as many as you can at the top of the hour. Let me get Atlanta, Georgia in here, 1877.
Good evening. I just wanted to welcome you back, Drybones. We definitely missed the show and enjoying the show tonight. I learned quite a bit, and I just wanted to give you a shout-out and thank your guests for coming on to help us understand the crazy world that we're living in.
Oh, yes. Thank you, sister. Let me get some more in here. Let me get 6428. 6429.
Yo, what's going on?
What's up, my brother?
Hello?
How you feel?
All right, it's Denzel Burnside. I actually hosted the event.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you,
yes,
man.
sir. Yeah, that's Brother Denzel. Yes.
Talk a little louder. Because you sound like you in the wind or something.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good now.
I'm sorry, bro. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was actually at the event, and thanks to Brother Chauncey for pulling me in, and Sister Courtney Omega, and all those that was involved and everything like that. Moving from there, I was listening to the conversation. Great dialogue, by the way, Drybones. I definitely want to try to come back and build and do some teaching on here with you and everything like that. But just like I said, speaking in terms of the esoteric, given that I am, within the order of Freemasonry, Prince Hall, and actually, to be honest with you, I've learned more about my order and what it's done and what it was set up for. Being outside, taking a walk with the Creator away from it. I will compliment the brother who came and dropped that information, because the thing is, we have this. I heard the brother say about we need to get off the symbolism and what Kemet was and all of that, which he's completely and totally right about that, because we can't consistently live up to the symbolism of we did this, we did that. That doesn't mean anything to the kid that's on the block that's fighting off police in their own kind and their own community, But it is important to be able to drive and change behavior, because what you're seeing, a lot of things don't get talked about, like in New York. They have the brothers going out teaching, and I can't remember exactly which community, about, heritage and so forth as enforcers to be able to try to bring down and suppress some of the, the black-on-black issues that we're having, which they were able to keep peace within that community almost like, I'm misquoting me, but anybody can look it up, almost about 200 plus days. So we're seeing in pockets of areas where we're able to be able to control and police our own communities coming back, and the awareness. So I just don't want to get away from that as well, in terms of that particular information. But like I said, being at the event, I think there was a lot of great energy in the room, a lot of great mobilization. And one of the biggest things I want to encourage is, like the brother was saying, we do need to really start analyzing people within our own community and what they're teaching and position and why they're teaching what they're doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Now, and right there is good. I hope to say you will definitely be in touch with me. Make sure you get all my information so we can do something. But I asked a very important question, because, see, this situation came by the study of psychology. Somebody making a lot of noise. I don't know where it's at. Y'all hear? Is it bothering y'all? Can y'all hear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's fine. Okay, well then we'll keep going. They was going to bring a brother that we have been told is a very predominant psychologist on affairs. Y'all stay on the line. The show will continue on. But let me just read what psychology is about, y'all. And a lot of people diagnose each other. And this is, I deal with facts. This is a show that you deal with facts. It says the history of psychology is a secular study of the mind and behavior dates back to the ancient Greeks, it says. Look what it says. There is also evidence of psychological thought in ancient Egypt. That's the Houthi. Then psychology was a branch of philosophy until 1870. And then it was taken over. It was taken over by the Germans. The development of scientific disciplines in Germany and the United States with psychological borders of various other fields, including psychology, neuroscience. Here's the key word, y'all: artificial intelligence, sociology, anthropology, as well as philosophy and the other components of the humanity. But here's the key word it says. It says philosophy, interest in mind and behavior. Now here it changes right back. See how psychotic they are. It says philosophical interest in the mind and behavior dates back to the ancient civilization of Egypt.
Yeah. Now, brother, I'll put myself out there.
Hold on. Let me just, before I make my point. We have forgotten our own principle, and we're going to suffer. I'm going to keep that in people's mind, because the reciprocity, the earth and the universe runs through reciprocity. And we have forgotten so many things because of the fact that we don't want to deal with certain aspects of what happened to us. Let me ask you, brother, being that you understand something craft, many of the symbols, come out of Kemet in Western Freemasonry.
I can't speak up a little. You said what?
I said many of the symbols come from Kemet. Now, you're aware that America is a Masonic republic, correct?
Of course, brother. I mean, that's base one when you get into the order. Like, you already know that.
No. I'm talking so we are agreement with the people here. So we agree. So that's correct. How do you think that can really, how do we change that? Because that's always going to be something that's kept from the people. It can never be. How can we operate with that?
Let me make you understand something, like for everybody that might be listening about the order. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm going to respect it for what it is because, like I said,
that's right.
It's very much like the mob. We play by rules that the rest of the world don't play by. But within Black Freemasonry, you have two versions of Masonry that operate within this country, within the United States, that don't operate everywhere else. You have Black Freemasonry, which is Prince Hall affiliated or PHO, and then you have the Ancient Free and Accepted, which we call the Scottish Rite, which are like your white dudes, like George Jefferson, Thomas, and all of those in your 4-letter, whatever. Now within Prince, under the banner of Prince Hall Masonry, under Black Masonry, there is a lot of confusion and derailment and missing whatever, in terms of us trying to unify within ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So you have that. Now amongst the white dudes, while they may still sit there and have the authority and some of the power and everything like that, what happens behind closed doors that I get to see that's reflecting out in the world is they're literally losing their power. And this is what everybody needs to be aware of. We as Black people are in a very, very critical position right now because they're not able to bring in new members. They're not able to bring in individuals who really want to change and break down the walls of whatever. So now they're sitting at the table saying only within 9 or 7 places in the South where there's no dual recognition, meaning that Masons within Prince Hall don't affiliate with Masons on the other side. Why?
Right.
In the South, because we still got that tear there. Now, the issues coming up as to who are we going to deal with? Are we going to go, and this is just in terms of white established America and so forth, are we going to go and lay down and deal with the lion that we took its teeth out, like the brother said, and give it back to it and pray that it doesn't bite us? Or are we going to go and deal with the ravenous wolves, which are your Latino folks, who, they've also burnt the bridge with, who generally will roll with us? You understand? So all the conversations as it relates to what they're doing and so forth, I'm telling you right now, it's all happenstance. It means nothing. It means nothing because their whole system is crumbling.
Hold on, brother. Let me ask you a question. You said their power is going. Who's taking? Who, in your estimation, who's taking their power?
I'm telling you right now, they're really trying to make deals with other orders to be able to bring us in, like your Boule organizations. And this is the concern. You got these elite Negroes that you said celebrity. You need to be looking at those individuals because those are the ones that are being used now to be able to maintain the power struggle of keeping us under the subdued belief that everything is cool. That's who you need to be looking at. Those individuals. You know what I'm saying? It's by no coincidence that Jay-Z gets to sit at the table with Warren Buffett and Forbes. Those are your imagery. And those who are initiated can read and look at certain things a certain way, just like the brother was saying, studying art. All of that came, you're right, all of that pharmacy, everything, all of that came out of ancient Kemet. And if anybody wants to, I was in crisis several times over. I had no problem talking about it. Thank God for what he did to help me. There's a video on YouTube that I talk about it. You can just Google my name and Denzel D. Burnside III, and I talk about all the stuff some of the stuff I went through and how these doctors that they sending you that run these programs that'll come and look at you and this, that, and so forth, and then they'll try to induce you with medication but have no understanding about your biology, have no understanding about what they're doing, but they're running off of a program like the Manchurian Candidate to keep you subdued, and they're operating in witchcraft because that's what pharmacy is.
Well, okay, now, and so, now wait a minute, hold on, let's get that correct. Pharmacy, remember, the herb has so many pharmaceutical things that can heal our body, so it's not all witchcraft. I'm
not saying it's all witchcraft, but what they're doing.
Yeah, it's not witchcraft. Okay, let's make it specific. See, that's what we got to make. We're in the Western world, y'all. We in the West. Like the brother said earlier, Ben Nabi said, we in the West, we in America, but we in the West. The ruling faction in the West is Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. That's your three Western religions. Them are your three Western religions that we are under. So we are affiliating through all that. And so, in other words, a lot of what's going on is contrived, no doubt about it, and it's made up. It's really made up. Because you have a people who are still debating whether to have their. Now, I'm going to use your Masonic Bible. It says, I'll be held in Daniel 7:9. I'll be held till the thrones were cast down. And then the Ancient of Days did sit. So if you write in the stone, then that is where it shall end up probably being. So they still practicing it, bro. Everybody know this, y'all. They still practicing what we talking about. Now, what I'm going to do tonight, I appreciate everybody who came on. Brother Chauncey, I hope to hear from you real soon. I hope to hear from a lot of you real soon. We're going to put some more shows together again, but we want to let everybody know that we still are at war in our own mind and the subjective mind, and we need to all start coming together. I hope that we get many of you in the community to now start to connecting, quit looking for other people to come in and take your money, pool your money with those of you who are around. Why? If you're going to pay for a person $3,000 to come down and hope, why can't you do it amongst each other? That's where it starts at. It starts with having pride for ourselves. Do you trust or listen to a brother that's in your community because he in your community? See, that's where it's at. The community is not important no more to each other. That's why it's so easy to shoot it up. That's why it's so easy to have these things happen to us, because many of us are not involved. For those of you who want to get involved, there's still the thing on GMOs. Call. If you're into the politic game, call them, get involved, make a difference if you can. Start with oneself to create something with somebody. Sunday I will be back on. For those of you who are going to get deeper, we're going to use Sunday for our cultic talk. We will not be holding into this. These conversations will be for guests and social liberation. But when we get into the Helios Biblios, Book of the Sun, a.k.a. Bible, that will be the name of the shows on Sunday from 10 o'clock until high noon, where the sun is at its highest. So y'all join us, and we'll leave you tonight. Want y'all, please, get some pride going on, y'all. We need it. We need it bad. Good night, everybody.